So when we started working on this book in 2019, we saw how the political movements in the United States over the previous several years were really directly harming our multilingual students. And I'm including here international students, students of color, students who are already language minoritized. These are the students who are already dealing with inequalities in the educational system, even before the pandemic hit, which just made those disparities worse. So as editors, we kept talking about how we as writing educators really need to foreground justice in our pedagogy. For us, that meant actively working against linguistic racism, working against white-centric and English-only and monolingual norms. And we're building here on April Bakers-Bell's work on linguistic justice. We wanted to ask how educators can do this in practice. So when we see our students being harmed by nationalism, by visa restrictions, by xenophobic rhetoric, by hate crimes, by discrimination, what steps can we actually take to promote linguistic justice in our classrooms and across our campuses? And in particular, as editors, we wanted to highlight how educators are already bringing theories of language like translingualism into practice.
So you may be asking, who is this book for? Thinking of this book, it's aimed at faculty and administrators in higher education who are involved in writing education in any form. So think of first-year composition, writing program administration, writing across the curriculum, basic writing, of course, English as a second language, writing centers, as well as higher administration who oversee all of these different academic units. The book attracts readers looking for concrete examples of pedagogy, as well as administrative practices which actively promote social justice for linguistically marginalized students, a concern for many in recent political times. The book is primarily concerned with the US context, but we believe sections of this book will be of interest to international higher education audiences.
So what this book consists of? In addition to introduction and afterword, this book has 3 parts. In part 1, translingual and anti-discriminatory pedagogy and practices, there are 4 chapters that discuss pedagogical practices and assignments that centers and honors students' multilingualism. These chapters draw on translingualism, decolonial studies, and anti-racist pedagogy, and discuss how these practices can help better understand complexity of our students' multilingual identities, and also fight against white language supremacy in their first-year writing classroom. The chapters in part 2, advocacy work in writing centers, offer ways to combat standard language ideologies and strive towards inclusive practices that value cultural and linguistic practices of multilingual students. As a whole, the authors in this section call for writing centers to engage with campus stakeholders and emphasize reflexive and critical approaches in consultant training. The final part, part 3, professional development, offers models of practical strategies for teacher educators who want to break down harmful monolingual ideologies, both with composition instructors and with faculty across the curriculum. Finally, the afterword invites the readers to continually reflect on and collaborate across the disciplines and also the institutions as we move forward with linguistic justice work.
And finally, what do we hope readers will take away from the book? As language and literacy educators, together, we have a duty to disrupt the inequitable education system and create unapologetically inclusive, accessible, humanizing writing ecology where multilingual students can amplify their voices and grow as ethical, reflexive, and critical writers. We forward our belief that building a more linguistically just campus is a step towards building a more linguistically just society. Our book is one small effort to join other scholars who have led this fight long before us and expand linguistic justice work for multilingual students on campus. And we hope that our readers will join us in continuously thinking and acting on working toward linguistic justice for multilingual writers.